What's up, everybody? Welcome to The Chat Room, a podcast dedicated with having interviews with upcoming stars and influencers of our generation. Please follow us on Facebook and Instagram at thechatroom.tcr and on Twitter at thechatroom_TCR. Also, don't forget to become one of our valued Patreon members, which allows you to unlock exclusive content while also supporting this podcast. Enjoy the episode. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of The Chat Room. I'm Kudzai, and I'm just excited for this episode. I'm sure you've heard of the guest that we have today. If you haven't heard of her from way back in the day, you've probably heard her on radio. We have Joanna. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you so much for having me.
I'm good, thanks. Hey. And yes, you are most welcome. Hey, how are you doing during these times, though? I always ask this first because, you never really know. But how are you doing, considering what's going on around us?
I am doing okay. You know what they say, you kind of have to learn to adapt. And also, not only adapting, because you have to be sensitive to the times and be able to know when to really push yourself and keep going, and when to also stop and take a break and just rest, because it is just a lot. But otherwise, I'm doing well. Yeah.
All right. Now, that's good to hear. I think the best thing that we can do right now is just to keep on pushing and keep on going. But so I talked a little bit about how you have probably been heard on radio because, you have presented for one of the biggest, if not the biggest radio station in Zimbabwe, that is ZFM. But, radio is something that not a lot of people really get into. So I think the first question that I really have for you today is, what made you get into radio, or what made you interested in radio in the first place?
Very, very interesting question. If I had asked myself maybe 5-10 years ago, and told myself that I would have done radio school and gone to radio, I would have been like, oh, really? Because it was not at all something that I was dreaming of or picturing myself doing. I was actually into medicine so bad. I was so in love with being an orthodontist, and I really wanted to do that. And just a change of heart, and it wasn't practically working. I was like, what am I going to do? And I decided, look, I think I'm going to do media, and stumbled across the ad, went for the auditions, made it, and then had an awesome time in class learning about radio, not just presenting, but even like the back end stuff that we never really know, the fact that, you actually have to apply for a license to have a station. There's certain rules and regulations you have to follow. Certain music that you should play, or you have to declare whether you're how much of talk, how much of music, all sorts of stuff, like the technicalities, and of course, as well as just presenting and, the do's, the don'ts, and learning those skills that will put you just above a standard, anyone who presents. So it was amazing.
Yeah, definitely. When you say you stumbled across an ad, do you mean like you were like driving and then you saw a billboard, or did you see like a flyer on the floor? Like, please, I'm just trying. Like, that's an interesting fact. It's not the normal path to whatever career path you're going to. So how did you come across? This is just for interest's sake, eh?
Yeah.
Completely. How did you stumble across that?
It was actually a friend.
Oh,
a friend of mine saw it, and they were like, they saw it and they thought of me and sent it to me. And I think that's a good thing, to surround yourself with people that want the best for you, or see something, and because you might not always like physically face to face or whatever, like bump into what's meant for you, but there's other people who see something and will just think of you, or they'll be in a room where you're not there and just recommend you, and those are the kind of people that you should surround yourself with, and that person is the one that got me to where I am. So
All right. We love the advice that you just threw in there. But yeah, just you're very young, Joanna. So, and you already have your radio license. So, around which time did you get into the radio business? Because yeah, I think you're very young. So, you must have started much early. Or does it take like maybe a year or two to do the course? How long is it, and how does it work?
So I don't have a radio license. I would love to actually have a radio station one day, which will
Uh-huh.
require the licensing. But I am certified.
Mhm.
I did my training with the Ginger Apple Group, so it was a radio presenter masterclass, and our class was the inaugural class,
All
and it was a
right.
class over 8 months.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so it kind of depends on sort of where exactly you're doing your
Mm,
classes, the route you want to take, because also you can go the more academic route and actually study media and sort of journalism and then get into radio. Or in our case, in Zim, you have opportunities and institutions like that that will go through the course. And internship was actually part of our 8 months, and tours as well. We actually toured, and we were in South Africa, in
mm.
Joburg, visiting different stations there, and then attached to stations, which is actually how I ended up working at a station. So that's
Oh,
how
all
I did
right.
it.
That's very interesting. So let's say I am to switch on the radio and listen to whatever station that you're working at. What am I expecting from your segment? Because I know with a lot of radio presenters, they have things that make them unique, things that they specialize in. So what can we expect when we actually get onto radio and listen to your segment, which is about 2 hours, 3 hours?
I think one thing that I can say was my thing that would set me apart and I really enjoyed doing was a segment that I used to call Take Me to Church.
Mm,
And basically, this is when I would playlist, we'd playlist the whole segment as presenters, because we were new. But that segment was playing Christian music that didn't sound like your typical Christian music, because we're quite used to, the generic, stereotypical gospel. But there's a lot of like Christian music that's either rap or,
yeah, like Christian
Afro
trap.
pop. Yeah, like all sorts of different genres. So I
Yeah.
would find different songs and have a couple for the week and for the segment, and then just play, and people would kind of vote like which one they would like, and also make the link available to people to listen to on YouTube. So yeah.
All right. So, just a side note, who's your favorite Christian rapper? Because, like, I'm also into Christian trap. I listen to a lot of Lecrae, Andy Mino and
Mm.
KB. So yeah. So this is just for interest sake.
I wouldn't say that Christian rap is like my fave, but I have
Okay.
songs by Lecrae that I really like, and I
Hmm.
also think yeah, KB is great.
Yeah, all right. Shout out
Yeah.
for that. And obviously you were well, not obviously, but a lot of people that actually do follow you. And by the way, Joanna has a huge follow base. Your Instagram is booming. Shout out. Some of us are still in the three figures. But anyway, you managed to cope work, and when I say work, I mean like work that's outside of radio, with actual radio presenting. And I think this is the key when it comes to us as the youth. Again, it's a podcast for youth, so please tell us how you managed to balance between work and radio presenting, and how it affected just yourself and your life basically.
Wow. Yeah, I definitely look back at my life and think I didn't live the normal, uh, 19-year-old, 20-year-old, whatever life. Even from 18 or even from before, I've always been interning and trying to get work experience. So the
Yeah.
way I coped, I guess, was going through day to day. At the time when I finished radio school, I then went on internships, and that's also when I started radio. So I would literally have like, 9 to 5 here at work in the office doing different things. I was working for a media house in Harare. And so we'd be doing different projects during the day. And then I'd have my shifts at radio. My main shift was midnight. They call it the graveyard shift. So it was midnight to 3 a.m. So I'd kind of get home, do whatever I wanted to do, spend time with my family, whatever, eat dinner. Usually I take a nap, wake up, drive to the station. I have to be there about an hour before, make sure everything's fine. Maybe if I haven't finished my playlist, I finish my playlist to sort for the, for the 3 hours, and then be on air, and then drive back home and then sleep for a little bit and wake up and go to work again. And other days we'd have different shifts, sometimes during the day to cover like tech, or sometimes on holidays we'd fill in for the other season presenters who were there. So we'd fill in like on certain holidays, Christmas, New Year's, Boxing Day. So yeah, it was interesting, but I loved it. I really did enjoy being there, being able to connect with people on radio and through social media as well.
Oh yeah, and I think that's the greatest thing of radio presenting, like just the entire industry, is the connections that you make. So just out of interest sake again, I feel like today there's a lot of things that are just interesting me. But did you meet any famous people? I think this is the question that every listener just wants to hear. Which famous people did you meet? Did you speak to? Did you connect to? And how do you connect to them? No, I'm joking about the last question there.
I did. I actually did get to meet interesting people and famous people, some musicians, some just like, socialites or public
Joanna, we want names. We want the juice. We want the juice.
Oh my word. I mean,
we want the juice.
People like Nyasha David, Tammy Moyo, people like the actual presenters themselves. We always just hear of them, like Simbi Lembi and Miss Red and Danny That Guy. And like basically the whole station, but it's different when you're seeing them. They're like, oh my word, is this Sean from Sport? Like, wow, is this Ahmad? This is actually Ahmad, and seeing them off the mic. So it was interesting, and I really just enjoyed. Yeah.
That is so nice. And I think, just looking at or hearing and listening to how busy you were and how busy you probably are still, because to my understanding, you are studying, right, at the moment. So, what do you like doing for fun? Like, what's your typical off day, basically? Like, what do you like to do for fun?
I love visiting new places and also spending time with family and friends.
Yeah.
So with COVID, it's been tricky because, we spent the whole of last year basically learning online. Yeah. So I've basically been able to make friends at school this year because I was only at school for a month last year, and it was, just finding my feet. So now just spending time with family, friends. Sometimes you go for a hike, sometimes you go for a picnic, sometimes you go sightseeing, sometimes it's just watching a movie all together at home, or just me time, binging series for a bit.
Which type of series?
I'm so everywhere.
You're one of those.
Pleased. Yeah, like someone will be like, oh my word, the show is terrible. And I'll be like, I kind of enjoyed that. Like, it was cheesy, but it was great.
Nah, I feel you. And just to get back to your studying, what are you studying? And are you hoping to get back into the radio industry, or whatever you're studying is literally just, that's where you're heading at the moment?
So I'm studying strategic brand communication, which is quite broad. And usually when I'm asked what I'm studying, I usually have to say it twice because it's like a sentence.
Yes.
Strategic brand communication sort of falls into the bigger umbrella marketing, just to make it a bit more basic and understandable. But it's more focused on, brands, building the brands and understanding consumer behavior and the more technical decisions behind the scenes of a brand and putting it out there. It can connect to radio because in any case, when you are a presenter, you are creating your personal brand, and that's something that I hope to continue to build. And then going back to radio, I do want to go back. I think I would more want to be in TV rather than on radio in terms of presenting, and it is a dream of mine to actually one day have a station and not just present, but to have a station. Yeah.
All right, now we'll definitely tune into that station, best believe. But man, it's just truly, it's exciting to hear, something different, and to just see that, Zimbabweans, young Zimbabweans are just shining in every single area. And, it's been incredible just getting to interview some of the great minds. But just getting into a little bit of fun questions. I like to call it the fun segment. But yeah, I have a few questions for you here. And I think the first one is something that you've probably heard before. But yeah, who is your favorite radio presenter in Zimbabwe? And why? Actually, let me just add that in.
Wow. My favorite.
No pressure.
All the pressure. I think I would have to say that I enjoy Captain Awesome's presenting. I don't know if you ever listen. Captain Awesome is a presenter at CFM. He usually presents on Saturdays, does the top 40.
I know him 100%.
Whenever he's presenting, I just feel like even if you're sad, you're gonna be happy. He's just so vibey. He's someone who's relatable. So in terms of that, he's very good at what he does. He's just on point in terms of being on top of that segment and just being himself, being awesome, being the captain of awesomeness. So yeah.
All right, cool. Now that's very interesting. I actually really I like him. I like him a lot because I've personally heard him as well. And the top 40 it's never the same. Yeah. So the second question that I have for you is, which do you think is the best radio station in Zimbabwe? I know there's a little bit of bias towards CFM because you work there, but I want you to really just think in the broader sense. Which do you think is the best radio station in Zimbabwe?
Oh, yeah.
No pressure, once again, no pressure.
I personally enjoy ZFM, and like you said, there'll be a bias towards it. I just feel like ZFM is more maybe when they do their stuff and they think who's their target audience, I fit the bill for that. I just enjoy the lineups and the presenters and the playlisting. So for me, ZFM is my favorite.
Go-to.
Yeah, that's my go-to.
All right, and they do have that catchphrase Z, but it's very catchy. And the last question that I have for you is very random. If you could have any superhero power, which one would you go for and why?
I think that I would want to be able to teleport. Yeah, I think especially now with COVID, having to travel and all this stuff is becoming so much more complex. And just in general, traveling is expensive. So imagine just being able to go visit a new country, just in a few seconds. You just go, take a walk around, come back. I'd be able to just visit home whenever, just teleport to school and back to the shops. Imagine not having to pay for transport. That'd just be great. And just being able to be places,
I can see that the Ubers are killing you down there.
It is death. And listen, I thought about something. I want to add a favorite presenter. I was thinking about it very on the spot. One other person I really, really like is So Profound. so profound, just so real and genuine. And he doesn't like sometimes when you enter a space, you feel pressure to fit the mold, or there's like instruction to fit a certain mold. And he's someone who, he just has real conversations and doesn't want, like, his goal is not to just be like a presenter in jail. Like he is radio in a way that you connect and you have like banter that's not like planned or anything, but it just works, it just clicks. And he really thinks out like everything he does in a way that just makes sense and makes radio great. So I think he's awesome.
All right, that's very interesting stuff. And Joanna, it's been great having you here. But just before we say goodbye and say our goodbyes, right? And this is I asked this. I think maybe if you do listen to the podcast, I ask this every single time because I think this is like the most important part of each interviews, in my opinion. But like, what advice can you give to Zimbabweans that want to choose your career path, which is, the entertainment industry, not just radio, but what advice can you give them? And, obviously you faced challenges as well. So, it's not just like things have been smooth. So what advice can you give the young people out there that want to be a Miss Red or a Captain Awesome? What can you tell them?
I think I would say that there's always something new to learn. And I would just advise, I'd advise anyone to just, find someone you can talk to and ask questions. We have so many people like available to us, like social media, you can literally just send a DM to someone and just speak to them 5 minutes. Even platforms like LinkedIn, like you have so much access to message someone who's in your career or in working somewhere that you maybe want to work, or doing something that you want to do and be a part of. And we're able to literally just send them a message and be like, hi there, how are you? I'm interested in what you do. Do you have, 5 minutes to just chat and just talk? Or, what would you do if you're in this situation? And you literally lose nothing if they do not reply or say they're unavailable, but you gain so much if they say, yeah, sure, I have 5 minutes, and you get so much knowledge from them. Yeah. And beyond that, then work your hardest to try and apply some of that knowledge in your space. Like wherever you are, there's always something that you can do to, even if it's just one baby step to get closer to there, you can actually do that and can, make a difference for you in your journey in the long run. So, yeah.
That is sound advice. Very, very interesting and beneficial to me, myself, even, So shout out for that. And thank you once again for coming on. It was a blast. We've learned a lot about the radio industry. It's not just, getting up every day and going to present. There's a lot that goes on around it. So thank you for that, hey.
Thank you.
It's been awesome. Stress. And yes, I think that's enough for today. And thank you once again for listening to the chat room. We keep growing each and every single week, and we're grateful for the growth that we're experiencing. Again, catch us on Monday Night Lives with the boy Tafadziswa Bunu. We always make it shake there with topics that are controversial, but they need to be spoken about. So that's it from me. Until next time. Peace.
Deuces.